Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's a new piece titled XRP Will Never Be Used by Banks. It says Coinmetrics Nick Carter. So who the hell is Nick Carter? It's this gentleman right here. And he's actually got quite the following, although I wasn't familiar with him. On Twitter here, 41,900 followers hearing nonsense from this fellow. So I want to highlight this and talk about it and explain in great detail why what he said is flat out wrong. And by the way, beautiful smile there. Look at that. So anyway, we're gonna be digging into that, and he's one of the co-founders of Coinmetrics, which I knew the name. It's been in my Twitter feed enough, but I had to go to it to learn a little bit about this particular crypto-related entity. So lots to talk about there. I'm going to be wrapping up this video with something unrelated, but kind of fun to follow. It's from Cointelegraph. It's a piece titled, American Citizen Arrested for Educating North Korea on Blockchain and Crypto. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But before we get going any further, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you would please ever so delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, and you know that XRP indeed will be used by banks, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. After all, this is indeed an XRP-centric channel, and you will be amongst friends here. Friends and the occasional Bitcoin maxi troll. So it's a good time. It's a fun blend. It's a fun mix of humans. So let's go ahead and dive in here. Ripple claims to offer revolutionary solutions tied to cross-border payments and remittances. Its network now includes more than 200 regional and international banks across the globe. In fact, India's HDFC Bank, alongside Pakistan's Basel Bank and Sendfriend, are the latest cogs in the ever-expanding RippleNet. However, most of these financial institutions are yet to switch to on-demand liquidity, ODL, previously known as XRapid, a product offered by Ripple. And I want to state right here, there's a very clear reason for this. Fine, there's certainly regulatory uncertainty for some, being, and banks are just really conservative entities, so even if they think that everything's clear, I can understand hesitation. But seriously, what's stopping them further than that is the fact that corridors aren't built out. Like, you literally can't transact XRP in almost any corridor on the planet. Very early days here. And it's not like that's some harsh critique, it's a matter-of-fact thing, but that's why it's so cool. I love being at the ground floor here, and Ripple is building this stuff out. Anyway, Ripple, however, remains the face of this emerging fintech field, and its emergence has contributed to many in the mainstream taking notice. In fact, the chairman of SWIFT had previously recognized the advent of cryptocurrencies and accepted how the financial sector is in the midst of an extraordinary change, something reiterated by the CEO of Deutsche Bank, who explained the need to adapt to emerging technologies. Now, check out this next part. This is, as far as I can tell, absolutely an error. Let me read this sentence, though. Check this out. Back in July of 2019, Marjan Delantine of Ripple had announced that around 20 banks were using XRapid. Okay, that's the first half of the sentence anyway. It says a system that allows the use of XRP to carry out cross-border settlements and fast transfers. And so I thought, what? Because obviously I know that this isn't true. Ripple's never claimed that 20 banks are utilizing XRP for cross-border transactions right now. And so I clicked on the link, which is supposed to go to the story that's being referenced here, and it's incorrect because this is crypto media. They linked to the wrong story, and there's nothing about it in the story they linked to. It's just about MoneyGram. And so that didn't work, so then I thought, let me see this. Is it actually possible that Marjan Delantine misspoke and I wasn't even aware of it? And all the while thinking, it's more likely that this is crypto media misrepresenting what reality is. And so I looked it up, and the closest I could find was this. There's an article from August 6, 2019, titled Ripple onboards 20 XRapid customers as traders track rising XRP volume. But that's the closest headline to this I could find. I couldn't find any sort of quote from Marjan Delantine stating this. So maybe if they were talking about some sort of onboarding of RippleNet customers that are banks or something to that effect, I don't know. But I've never seen a Ripple employee make a claim that there are 20 banks using XRP. I think that would have been massive enough news that I would have seen it, but still had to highlight. So thanks for nothing, crypto media. You kind of suck. Anyway, all right. So anyway, these institutions included the likes of MercuryFX, SBI Holdings, TransPayGo, and others. However, this figure was insignificant when compared to the hundreds of institutions that are part of RippleNet. Okay, it's numerically less, but insignificant? No. That's not a reasonable word to use in that sentence in my estimation. You're talking about the production version of XRapid coming out just over a year ago, and 24 entities are already using it, even though there are only a few corridors that are actually active now. Just a few corridors, think about that, and 24 right now. That was the last number I saw. It was 24 customers of Ripple using XRP as a bridge currency. With just a few corridors. That's significant, not insignificant. Come on, man. While Ripple may have plenty of cards on the table, XRP's stagnant price movement is a cause for concern for thousands. These feelings were echoed by the co-founder of Coinmetrics.io, Nick Carter. In a tweet thread recently, he said, quote, "Also, the interesting thing is that some of these informed skeptics tend to be more sympathetic towards Bitcoin. At the very least, they appreciate its ideological consistency, as opposed to the cargo culture projects like private blockchains or, God forbid, Ripple." So there you tell right there. It seems to me, when I see a tweet like that, that screams to me tribalism, perhaps Bitcoin maximalism, just some sort of notable bias that has something to do with ideology, right? That's what it always seems to me. And here's the next tweet from him. If there's anything bankers hate, it's being told that banks will use XRP. Oh, how about that? They will never use it. There are structural reasons they cannot. Does the Ripple army know about Basel III? And even if they could, they wouldn't. Okay, we're about to get into the fun part. Don't worry. We're about to really get into the fun part. Basel III came about as a result of the financial crisis that took place in 2007 and 2008. The key principles focused on capital requirements, leverage ratio, and liquidity requirements, and these were introduced to bring about greater liquidity and reduce leverage. However, this proposal has attracted opposition from think tanks and bankers who believe that the regulatory framework would adversely affect the stability of the global financial system by favoring large banks. So let's go ahead and dive in. So there's a lot to say about this. First of all, I want to be clear, and he must have missed the news. So let me just pull up this piece right here. This is from November 9th of this year, right? 21 days ago. This is the title. One of Peru's largest banks will utilize XRP for cross-border payments. The ripple effect. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? He must have missed this one. How about that? Uninformed, but sure has opinions, doesn't he? Yes. So take a look at this. I just want to share with you a little bit of this article at the top. Banco Internacional del Peru, commonly known as Interbank, says it's switching from Ripple's payment messaging system XCurrent to the company's XRP-powered payment product called On-Demand Liquidity. Just to clarify, that's wrong, but this is crypto media and they don't know the specifics. Apparently, well, obviously, they're not switching; they're just turning on the on-demand liquidity portion, but they're still using the messaging portion previously known as XCurrent. But that's okay. We're just going to let that go. Interbank's blockchain specialist Josie Mantilla made the announcement at Ripple's Swell Conference in Singapore. Check out this quote, because I'm sorry, Nick, you're flat out wrong. In Peru, we started thinking about cryptocurrencies when they first started appearing in the United States. The bank has done a great job trying to attract talent that is really focused on innovation. And we have an innovation lab inside the bank. So we work as a team that is allowed to fail and try different things. And we started working with XCurrent in that way. And now, after a year working with XCurrent, check this out now, pay attention, we have decided to move forward this year and use the cryptocurrency to do our transactions. But bam, there you go. But Nick says banks won't ever use XRP. Well, here is a banker telling you we are going to use XRP. Shocking, right? What do you know? Somebody with an ideological bend doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Take a look at this article now. This is a fun one, too. This is from October 31st of this year. Banking giant SBI reveals new plan to support XRP and extend coverage of Ripple Network. Now, I want to talk about this because David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, co-founder of the XRP ledger, has stated in the past that for banks that have concerns about, like say a bank wanted to specifically hold XRP, which, by the way, you don't have to do. This is one of the things I just thought I'd mention real quick, which is not exactly what we're talking about here, but I just want to mention it. If a bank wanted to actually hold XRP, you can do it by getting around regulatory framework by utilizing subsidiaries. Now, what we're talking about here with SBI is SBI Remit, which is a subsidiary, wholly owned, of SBI Holdings, which will be utilizing on-demand liquidity, formerly known as XRapid. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to hold XRP, but again, you don't need to. I just thought I'd mention it because SBI is a subsidiary of SBI Holdings, a bank. So if you want to split hairs and say SBI Remit is not a bank, okay, but it's a little disingenuous. It's all tethered together there. I'm putting out all the facts, but the one that's indisputable here, obviously, is the interbank here with Peru. It's a bank. They're going to use XRP, period. And so you also might think, because look, I'll be honest with you, all this Basel III stuff here, it's not something that was fresh in my head. So before recording this video, I did a little refresher for myself, and I just kept a couple of tabs here open and what I was reading through. Mostly the way it was described in the article from Daily Hodl that I cited, it was AMB Crypto. It seemed like a pretty reasonable explanation of what it is. And so Basel III, there's 1, 2, and 3. Basel III was born out of the financial crisis of 2008, as cited there. But originally, Basel I, it went back to, I think, 1988. Yeah, here we go, July 1988. And what is it here? It's you know what it makes me think of? It kind of reminded me of like the concept of international law. So let me explain. The Basel Accords are a series of recommendations on banking laws and regulations issued by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. The name for the Accords is derived from Basel, Switzerland, where the committee that maintains the Accords meets. And so conceptually, and this is the way I've always kind of looked at it. If you ever taken a course on international law, then you'd understand that conceptually it's kind of done on the honor system. Like, we're going to trust, because international law, every country has their own their own framework for as it pertains to judicial processing. And so there's quote-unquote international law, and then you just hope that all the international entities involved with that, embracing it, will kind of be like honor it, essentially. And that's how I've always considered the Basel framework, though. And again, this isn't something that comes up in a lot of debates with XRP, and that's why when Nick Carter cited this, I was like, I don't really hear that from people too often. Let me go ahead and refresh myself on this, because it's not something I've thoroughly committed to memory. But it really has nothing to do with this, because look, from an AML and KYC, that's anti-money laundering and know your customer standpoint, that's already in place. None of that changes with transactions utilizing XRP, which is why it's a bogus argument. Now, from a regulatory perspective, if there's not clarity on what XRP specifically is and various geographic reasons, is it a security? Is it not? Obviously, it's not. But I'm just saying, if there's a little bit of concern there, okay, I can get that. That particular doesn't really have a whole lot to do with Basel III. But if you could cite in here, and I don't know what portion of Basel III he's trying to cite here, but let me say this. Even if there's something in Basel III specifically that would prevent, even if there were, I'm not saying there is, I'm just saying if there were, and this could be pointed out to me, fine. If that were the case, I haven't seen anything in it. I've never seen in this case made before that there's specifically something in Basel III that would present this. And I hear the likes of Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, talking about Basel III and all this other stuff. They're well aware of all this. But even if there were, as there's world-changing technology that comes along, regulatory frameworks are changed. Like, the concept of many things, like there are certain companies that exist now utilizing the internet. Like, for instance, I can't remember all the specifics, but with the regulatory framework of the 90s, if Skype were to have existed early to mid-90s, and it didn't, but if it did, it would have been illegal. I wish I could remember the specifics off the top of my head, but my point in stating that is that, things aren't static here. Things are not static from a regulatory perspective. And as world-changing technology comes along, we're like, oh, this is actually useful and not bad. If there's something that's in conflict with the law, you change it. Okay, things are not static. So if you can get a better customer experience at a better price, and it's good for the world, the utilization of on-demand liquidity as part of RippleNet, why wouldn't that ultimately happen in a market where competition is a real thing? Why would that not actually happen? Because, and again, mind you, humans have not devised another solution for the train wreck that is the world of cross-border payments. There is no other solution for settlement, specifically. There is not. Humans haven't devised it, and I don't know if they ever will. But this is a fix. What Ripple is doing with all this, and so all of these thoughts from this gentleman Nick Carter. I'm sorry, nothing personal, but I firmly disagree with you. I think it's nonsensical, and the way that your tweets came across to me seemed a bit ideological at heart. I don't think that's particularly useful. And so here you can see coin metrics. I don't want to get into this too much, but one sentence right on the front page here. It doesn't even really tell you what the hell they do, but Coin Metrics is a provider of crypto asset market and network data. Our data empowers our clients and the public to better understand, value, use, and steward open crypto networks. Yeah, but with the opinion that this Nick Carter guy has about XRP, how uninformed it is, yet strong opinion, makes me wonder what other opinions do they have about other cryptocurrencies. What else do they think about Ripple and XRP that we just don't know about? This is pure bunk. I love calling this stuff out, and it's the right thing to do. I'm really happy to do this, but it's just a shame that some people could be tricked by comments like this. And, if there's honest mistakes, I don't really have a problem with that, but I've been around long enough. I've been in the world of crypto over 2 years, which really is 20% of the time that crypto has existed. So if you look at it that way, it's a meaningful chunk. But I just don't like it when it seems clear to me that there's the ideological aspect. That's when I start to have a little bit of beef with it. If somebody's just uninformed, I like to just have adult conversations, and I like to keep emotion out of arguments and debates, because it's not really useful, and things can really just go off the rails if you're letting emotion choose what you say or write. And so I prefer to not do that. I'd rather just have rational adult thought. So happy to do that, and I still would hear that, even in cases like this, it's just unfortunate to me when I see comments like these, which are not only uninformed, but, like I said, ideologically driven. So there you go. I do want to highlight this, too. So here's an XRP community member, Mr. BXRP, and I just wanted to share this, even though I haven't seen this yet. All right, here's my first video, folks, and this is at 8:15 p.m. last night, and I just came across it thanks to Digital Asset Investor retweeting this. That's how I came across it, and I retweeted it as well. Haven't seen it yet, but very much looking forward to it. But this is his first actual video. He had posted a few other things, but this is his first video where he's like covering stuff himself here, and it's titled on his YouTube channel. This video is titled "Exchanges, Cold Storage, Ripple, and XRP." And I say kudos to him. He's already got something like as of this morning, or somewhere around 2,400 subscribers. So really cool here. He's obviously, he's an awesome member of the XRP community. He's already got quite a following. Even on Twitter, you can see he's got 22,400 followers. So well deserved. I love coming across his stuff in my Twitter feed. So I just want to give him a shout out here. And if you have a little bit of time, definitely check it out. I look forward to doing it myself just a little bit later today. All right, last piece for this video. American citizen arrested for educating North Korea on blockchain and crypto. Today, United States prosecutors announced the arrest of Virgil Griffith, who allegedly traveled to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, to deliver a presentation on how to use cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology to circumvent sanctions. Wow, okay, so that sounds like a terrible idea on the surface for so many reasons. I gotta tell you, I would never go there, okay? Especially as a United States citizen. You don't know if you're coming back. That's I don't know if you guys have ever looked into that. It just don't go to North Korea on vacation. It's not a good idea. According to the November 29th announcement, the 36-year-old Griffith was arrested at the Los Angeles International Airport and will be charged with conspiring to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA. The charges carry a maximum term of 20 years in prison. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey S. Berman stated, quote, man, that's quite a mistake. Anyway, as alleged, here's the quote. As alleged, Virgil Griffith provided highly technical information to North Korea, knowing that this information could be used to help North Korea launder money and evade sanctions. In allegedly doing so, Griffith jeopardized the sanctions that both Congress and the President have enacted to place maximum pressure on North Korea's dangerous regime. Man, wow, why would you inject yourself? That just sounds stupid. Anyway, the IEEPA prohibits any U.S. citizen from exporting any goods, services, or technology to the DPRK without a license from the Department of the Treasury, Office of Foreign Assets Control. That's... wow. Griffith, a U.S. citizen living in Singapore, was previously denied permission to travel to the DPRK by the U.S. Department of State. Griffith went against the decision and presented at the DPRK cryptocurrency conference, violating the U.S. sanctions against the DPRK. FBI Assistant Director in Charge William F. Sweeney Jr. said, quote, "These are deliberate reasons sanctions have been levied on North Korea. The country and its leader pose a literal threat to our national security and that of our allies. Mr. Griffith allegedly traveled to North Korea without permission from the federal government and with the knowledge of what he was doing was against the law. We cannot allow anyone to evade sanctions because the consequences of North Korea obtaining funding, technology, and information to further its desire to build nuclear weapons put the world at risk. It's even more egregious that a U.S. citizen allegedly chose to aid our adversary." Wow. I just found the story fascinating. It's I wouldn't want to be old Virgil there. Would you? I would not. And I never would have done that. That is like stupid. Oh my god, that's stupid. Alright, that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!